Yeah, give us more warning. That last one, I was like picking my nose. I was like, I heard a good old scratch, and I was like, oh shit. Oh.
Yeah, but I feel like you do that. You'll say yes and then pick your nose.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Oh.
Hi everyone, welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the JTGA podcast. Joining me once again is Jason Burley.
Hello.
Adam Burley. I told him he could change his greeting. And our fourth chair, Johnny Wilson.
Hi.
So, our second episode of this season is dedicated to one subject that is going to...
neurologically provoke me.
And you maybe, possibly, we don't know.
This one we haven't even started yet.
Absolutely. So this is all about Star Wars Battlefront 2 and everything that went wrong.
There was
this
one.
game.
Do you know what? One thing went right.
Okay.
You know when we were talking before in season 1?
Yeah.
All the way back then.
Yeah.
Where we went. One thing that you really wanted was tauntauns.
I did.
That was
yeah.
in the game. That was in the game.
Oh, great. Okay.
Well, I said it is in the game.
Could you cut it to cuts and live in it?
Yeah, no, you couldn't do that. But
Not a Tom then.
No, yeah, doesn't count.
Yeah, not relevant. But that was so they did that.
Okay.
But other than that, it was a complete and utter piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't know where to begin with this. I mean, obviously the
awful.
The headline, the go-to headline from Battlefront 2 was how they handled microtransactions. How it was almost pay to win. Well, it was pay to win. Wasn't it?
It was absolutely.
You could put money in it to get better star cards, which would get you better weapons and versions of characters.
Yep.
So if you put money in the game beyond buying it, you would have an advantage, a clear advantage in a competitive multiplayer game.
Quite literally the only reason I didn't buy it.
Right.
Because actually, in terms of when I played the beta, or we played the beta,
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. I only played sort of maybe 10 hours,
Right.
something like that. Really enjoyed it.
Not 8 or 12.
Not 8 or 12.
No. Okay.
8 specifically.
Arbitrary numbers.
But I wasn't gonna. I didn't want to pay a shitload of money just to be Darth Vader.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
the chances of you being Darth Vader, because you obviously have to save up the points to then activate them in the game.
Yep.
You know,
Ridiculous.
Stupid. Really stupid.
And I think also fundamentally, particularly that map that they chose for the beta was one of the worst.
It was shit.
It was so. You have a gamer with 32 players. Feed. 32 players, and it felt like you were just running in open space.
Yeah.
It was it was so sparse and so empty.
It was possibly one of the worst. I mean, great idea, great location in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
But.
On the boo.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what they were doing with that. I mean, whoever designed that map.
Well, the game, it basically, is how many ways we can describe the game as being an utter piece of bullshit, basically, isn't it? So are we just going to slate it for the next 10 to 12 minutes about picking up all the specific bollocks in that game?
Well, I suppose
because there was nothing good about it.
Right, I kind of want to take definitely that, but I also want to take a more optimistic view and kind of go, what would we have liked to have seen? What could they have done differently?
Well, for one, the absolute massive, the biggest factor about the game, and what we previously said, and what everybody wanted,
Not
64
enough
players.
Yes.
Not enough people.
You are the same developer as Battlefield.
I know,
man. You cannot mirror what is clearly a successful model of gaming.
Did they
which
ever
is
address
large-scale Battlefield?
Right, did they ever address it though? Did they ever address why that they kept the player count so low?
I think they did. They released some bullshit statement about it being more intimate and all this fucking crap.
Intimate. It's more closely. It's just more shit and not intimate.
Yeah, it was. So they did release something, and I was looking on a forum or something about it, and everybody said what we said was just like, well, that's horse shit, basically.
Right.
Lazy developing.
Yeah, they didn't want to push the technology.
Pure and simple.
It's basically the first game. Just there you go. It's like what they do with FIFA, isn't it? It's like, there's another FIFA. It's like, here's another battle.
But it was much
Yeah.
worse than 2015's Battlefront. Much worse.
I think this could have been an update to the first Battlefront.
Yeah, but even graphically, even the actual gameplay,
Yeah.
they redesigned the gameplay. And in the first Battlefront, the 2015 one release was really quite arcadey, and that's why I liked it.
Right.
It was almost like the old Star Wars games used to play on arcade machines.
Right.
Like back in the early 2000s, it was really
Which are much simpler, I think.
Yeah, it had a Battlefront feel to it, and the only thing they could have done was obviously the classic stuff like the AI and that kind of thing. But it was too different to that, so they kind of redesigned it, but they didn't take the good elements of the last one.
Right.
So like, all the heroes are ridiculously overpowered in Battlefront 2.
Oh no.
Ridiculously overpowered. I mean, they're overpowered in the first one, but now
We kept coming up against Darth Maul, didn't we?
yeah.
Which was
It's just
It
annihilated
was basically
everybody.
Yeah.
run away
he
from
spins
it.
his
wasn't it?
lightsaber once in a room, and no one gets out alive.
No, it's
Nobody.
so unbalanced.
Yeah, really unbalanced. Some of the vehicles are awful. So like you'd spend like I think a middle, you could probably get together about 2,000 points relatively sort of quickly, but the heroes are like 5,000.
Yeah.
Right? And I think an ATST was about sort of 1,000. But again, they were just too weak.
Right.
They didn't pack any punch on the battlefield. So you just it was way. I mean,
What's the nature of that map? It being just one big long corridor, effectively outside,
Yeah.
funneling everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they did that because the player count was so low? They had to get funneling to the
that
same
map
place.
was too large.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So much unused space. Wasn't
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. So I mean,
It was just long and thin.
Yeah,
Stupid.
right. Exactly. Which is just.
so then all the other
If you
maps.
spawned at one end of the map, it'd take you 8 minutes. to run all the way
No,
up to where the
to even get
fight
closer to an
going
objective
on.
and then you
Yeah.
die.
That was the problem for all of the maps that I played. I must have cycled through every map one day about twice on each map, and every time you encounter that problem, you spawn at spawn point and you have to run all the way. And because of the sniping is massively emphasised in this new game because the maps are so big,
Right.
so you end up just getting pinged before you get to the actual fight. And then the ticket count was far too low.
Yeah.
So I think the ticket count was only about 100.
It wasn't high.
It
The
wasn't
games
high.
were really short.
So the games
Yeah.
were really, really short, whereas they could have easily doubled that for you to actually get into the swing of the game, get some kills, get some points together. Because I usually got to about the 5,000, 6,000 marks
Right.
for a hero, but then the hero would already be in play.
That's the thing. I
Yeah.
found it was so annoying. I'd have enough credits and there was never a hero available.
and then you're barred from playing like that for the entire game. So
And then if you paid 40 quid for that character,
Right. Yeah.
you never get to play it.
Oh, it's just.
yeah. So whereas if you up the player count, you essentially get rid of all of those issues.
Yeah.
Because you could have several heroes on the go. With 32 players on the game, you could have 4 heroes probably.
Easily.
So a lot more vehicle combat. The big maps would actually be filled with fucking people to play the fucking game. And,
So angry.
The passion.
would just be a bit better, wouldn't it? I mean, it was a particular kind of awful, and
Right.
on every level, graphics, gameplay, maps, microtransactions.
It visually looked worse. It definitely did.
It was a piece.
Visually,
Yeah.
and to think that they spent, the other one was released in 2015, this one was released in late 2017,
So 2 years.
and that's what they came up with.
And you actually don't hear anything about it anymore.
No.
It's
No,
just,
it's
it's
not.
buried, isn't it?
It's
Well,
just dropped
they've
off.
had to do so much. Like, no, we've stopped the microtransactions. They're doing so much desperate,
Yeah.
crowdfire PR control. Like, there's so much they desperately try
Well,
to
this
fix.
is why
It was a
the
disaster,
Star they're
Absolutely.
actually saying EA aren't going to make any more Star Wars games because they've just
They've
they've had 2 chances and they've blown it.
Well, there was that
twice.
Star Wars game that Visceral were making, which was the people who made Dead Space. They were the Visceral games. They were making a Star Wars game a bit like Uncharted.
They were, weren't they?
2020?
Possibly. There was one called 1313, which was in. I think
That
it
might
was,
be the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, that was LucasArts. So that was Lucas. Yeah, like many years ago, and obviously they got shut down and it was canned. This was supposed to be a very similar to games that were kind of crossed with Uncharted. It was well into development, and then EA, that famous quote where they said single-player games aren't relevant anymore.
Oh, what?
Which you've been playing Shadow of War, Horizon.
Shadow of War, Witcher,
yeah.
Fallout 4,
Yeah.
Far Cry. Those games aren't relevant.
Last of Us.
Those games aren't good.
Well, for me, Dead Space is one of my favourite series, and
But
that's from-
Battlefront 2 was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We've got nothing to worry about.
that-
Yeah, I've got this.
that developer finally being given the keys to a Star Wars game, a narrative Star Wars game, and not only did they cancel the game, they shut the studio, shut them down. And I just think it's so.
That's that corporate bullying, though, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
like it's like we've got this, you can't do it, and therefore we've got more money and capital than you, and we're just gonna, that happens.
Yeah,
in all business.
We want to
But-
ruin it.
Yeah.
Yeah, on our terms.
Yeah.
So that's like you were doing. Really, that's like actually you were doing a good job of this. We're not. That's why we shut you down.
Right.
They just trampled a good project because it would have, I don't know, taken the limelight away from them.
I get because also EA owned Visceral.
Email.
And
You
EA,
got mail.
EA owned Visceral, but they let them gain all that money to do their thing, and suddenly pulled the plug. Because now they've bought Respawn, the people who make Titanfall, and they're supposedly making a Star Wars game, and they're also making Titanfall 3. My worry is for them, is given how soft the sales were for Titanfall 2, that they get 6 months, a year into development, they do the same thing they did to Visceral, and suddenly that's another developer that bites the dust.
Yeah.
That or their game will just get killed by microtransactions.
Again, yeah, that was forced in, which is just...
Shoehorn it in, make it work.
Do you need microtransactions in a £50-60 game?
I think the reaction to Battlefront 2 set a decent precedent. So I think that the actual how volatile and sort of aggressive the backlash was from the fans was decent. I think EA really needed that sort of, they needed it.
They needed that bit of a wake-up call.
To unequivocally have to be said to them by the consumers who are going to ultimately buy their product. No. That doesn't work.
Did it reflect in the sales?
I think absolutely, man.
It must have done.
And whoever bought it,
I only got the game because it came with my new PlayStation. It was like
it was bundled in.
It was bundled. It was a bundle. I didn't intend to buy it.
Well, I bought it and being a massive. Bearing in mind, I played nearly 500 hours on the 2015 release.
Right.
Me and my friend Dale used to play it all the time. It was our go-to online. Game
that's what you did on Xbox.
That's what we played a lot. And I bought Battlefront 2 and traded it in 48 hours later. Got Shadow of War, got a decent game.
Which is great.
Yeah. But it's single player and it's not relevant anymore. So, there's that. But yeah, traded it in 48 hours later.
And done.
Yeah. Cycled through, 3 modes they had on it. Blast, Galactic Assault, and Starfighter Assault.
Yes.
Wasn't interested.
And that's that, isn't it?
I'm quite happy to put money, sort of more money back into a game if I'm, really loving it. But they've got to do it in the right way. I mean, I think things like season passes are quite reasonable because you pay, say, 20 quid and you get your extra content. As long as you're enjoying the game, that's great. But if you shoehorn it in from day one, you're going to have to spend 30, 40, 50 quid to keep up with the other players in the game that are also putting that money in. It's just ridiculous.
I think a season pass is the way to go.
Season passes, but even a game that you love, I bought everything that they released for The Last of Us because I loved the game, and it didn't bother me that I was buying the stuff, but it was cheap. It was like £1 a weapon or something.
Right.
So I thought that was reasonable.
Yeah, I bought the DLC for Fallout 4. I didn't actually get the season pass. I actually bought it bit by bit as they released it. Bought all that. I think it's about 15 quid per bit of DLC.
Yeah, but they're worth it. With a game like Fallout 4,
but
it's a game for 15 quid.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you?
So it's not like they shouldn't extend further opportunities to buy something. Buy content from the game. But I think microtransactions in abundance. So
it's just got to be right.
Like £5 for each weapons pack, and there's 50 weapons packs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. They all go up in ascending power order. Well, obviously, people are going to buy the top pack. You're never going to be able.
And people buying those packs need to get an advantage.
And that's what happened in Battlefront 2. I mean, there were people in the game who had. You could see the star cards that they had, and you just literally went up at them in a face-to-face firefight. You both stood dead opposite each other. No gaming. You just stood dead opposite each other, and you both let rip with your weapons. You'd be dead in 2 seconds, where it might have taken you 10 to kill him. It's just not, but match for like, it just you couldn't compete with some of the other players because they automatically, as soon as the game came out, pumped that much cash into the game.
They're just like, go out and spend, buy the game. I've just spent another £100 making myself. Because they've got some
digitally invincible.
Because they can't succeed in life, but they can succeed in battle.
I don't know if it's a reflection on their life story.
I think it is. I think they're incredibly
very inadequate individuals.
Inadequate. They've never had sex. Clearly, they're all losers.
Loser virgins.
Yeah, virgins that just spend all their time playing Battlefront 2 with like all their transactions. I got all their transactions. Fuck off. Well, no one's playing the game anymore, so you can just sit on there like some pathetic loser. Shit game.
Well, that felt like therapy.
While we go and play the good games. Yeah.
Yeah, but even some of the good games are doing it wrong with their microtransactions. I think Fortnite is a prime example. £20 for a costume.
Wasn't
it's stupid.
And
even though it's free to play, it's too.
It's free.
Oh yeah,
it's free to
play.
But
20 quid for one costume is outrageous.
Stupid.
It's like the whole Counter-Strike thing, though, isn't it? It's like 10 grand for a knife.
Yeah.
Comes
Don't
down.
get me started on that.
Fuck it.
It comes down to that type of player that would.
I want to put money into Fortnite.
Same.
I'm happy to, but I just want to get value for money.
At a reasonable level, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I think I've spent about 12 quid on Fortnite.
I bought 2 of the battle passes, so that's like
So
probably
have I.
15, 16
quid?
quid. Yeah. And that I feel totally fine with that for the hours I put in,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I mean, it's like skins and stuff, isn't it? I mean,
Well, they're irrelevant. You don't need them.
Do you
but
care what you like?
Yeah, when you realise you're the only one in the lobby that's like Captain Default, and everyone else has got.
Yeah.
Clearly,
I
all these
guess
people have
so.
spent 50 quid making themselves look all like
Yeah.
funny.
Just
Yeah.
Captain Default.
Captain Default.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
That's,
That was me when I bat like peer pressure. I went, I can't be this guy anymore. I've got to at least look like I play the game more often than once. So I've done it as well. So I've spent my money just to get some skins. So I'm a little bit like I'm blending in with everyone.
To get your impractical red camouflage on your M4 or something.
Yeah.
in the jungle environment.
Yeah, something nobody ever has ever, but red camo.
So the moral of the story, guys, is Battlefront 2
Sucks.
all the eggs.
Fucking die.
So thank you for tuning in.
Death
once
to
again, guys.
EA!